Welcome Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host, and we have a fascinating show set up for you. Of course, it's basketball season. As a matter of fact, we're not that far from actual state playoffs, and we'll talk a little hoops, some tournament play. We've got more than that. Junior ROTC wrestling, and how about this? We're even going to talk archery. That's right. Did you know TPS has archery? They do. We're going to do all that coming back right here. I want you to stay tuned and get more from us inside Tulsa Athletics. Time for more Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and you recognize this gentleman, Bobby Allison from Memorial. Built a program at Memorial that is the envy of so many teams around the state. And you're coming off of not only a tournament win, but just a win here last night.
Yeah, no, we've gotten a good little flow going. I think we've won 5 in a row since we last talked. We went to El Reno and lost by 2 to the ranked number 1 or 2 in 5A. But then we bounced back from that and had beat Pryor. Then we go win the Rogers tournament. Beat Muskogee, played us tough, beat them. Played Edison in the semis, came away with a victory, and then played Cassia Hall, who was ranked 2 in 3A, and won a great game versus a great team. And then last night, turn around and have to play Edison again, which is tricky. 3rd time in 20 days, but yeah, we were able to come away and get that win. So 8-0 in district, 14-4 overall. And after the Cassia Hall game, I told the guys, you've graduated from a good team to, I think now we're a great team. And we just got to continue to fill that bucket of greatness.
What made that change? What made the difference between those two?
Poise and a willingness to know that it's going to be hard and don't resist the game being hard. You know, whenever you get up 25, 30 on somebody, yeah, everybody's smiling. But you got to smile when you're up 5 and the other team's playing with desperation and coming at you. You got to, have poise when you're taking somebody's best chance, best game, and and recognize that you got to go make plays and you got to be tough, and then you got to play through bad plays, because 2 teams are going against each other that are really good. Their agenda and your agenda are going against each other. So somebody's goal and agenda is not going to succeed. So have your agenda be a little more disciplined and focused and together, and we made just enough plays. And we got to learn from that game still, but we made just enough to where there's been games in the past that we haven't enforced our agenda.
The coaches always say you can coach them harder when you win, and you show them the point of, look, this is what I told you, and look what happened. So you did turn that corner. You did have those kinds of games. What can you do from that? What do you learn? What do they learn? And what can you do more from that, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, we write a bunch on the board as far as just intangibles, and then obviously offensively and defensive philosophies. But there's certain things you must do, and there's certain things you can't do. And so from that game, what must did we accomplish? And there was this, and then there were still some can'ts that we got to get those off of our checklist. So, and like you said, you can coach them hard through a win because they know there's a point to it. Yep. Sometimes when you lose games like that, they're like, what, you know what I mean? You get defeated. But no, it definitely was a game that you got to get this time of year for momentum in February.
Win or lose, it requires buy-in.
Yeah.
And that buy-in is one of the things that you can call it a lot of different things. You can call it culture. You can call it all different things. But it does require that ability to put somebody else before you, a teammate, and, as you said, to push through what is hard.
No doubt.
You work on teamwork to do that. You just do it in practice. What's your philosophy?
Yeah, no, we constantly, whether it be helping a guy get a ride to the gym, or whether it be getting extra shots up with this guy, build somebody up. And when somebody's struggling. You guys know what his best game is, and you know what his best game is. And when they're not playing that. So, as a teammate, if you're not building them up, you're really going, that's a can't.
Sure, yeah.
It's a can't.
If you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Exactly.
Right, there's no such thing as staying the same. Let's go back to the Ropers tournament. I asked this earlier of one of the other coaches. Anytime you're in a tournament, you got to turn things around really quickly. Your players do, you do, your assistants do. You like that kind of a hectic schedule?
Yeah, no, it definitely prepares you for the playoffs and back-to-backs and, you know, getting a short scout on somebody. It's one thing to scout somebody when you got them, like we got Couri on Friday. We got 2 or 3 days to prepare. But with the tournament, and you got maybe 8 to 10 hours. And then, you know, as a coach, I've learned that you don't want them to overthink it.
Yes.
Because at that time, tournament play is about, you know, players making plays. It's the play, you know, it's kind of like the playoffs, I say. It's called the playoffs, not the coach-offs. So, you know, I'll give you the personnel, and you guys watch and do the scout a little bit too. But, you know, what are you going to do about it out there as a player? How are you going to adjust? And then you adjust into the officials in 3 days. We say, I call tournaments a 72-hour game because what you do in the semis and how you handle it can transpire to the finals. So it's kind of I call it a 96-minute game or a 72-hour game because it takes all those 96 minutes and 72 hours to succeed those 3 days.
It's interesting you mentioned overthinking it. I used to broadcast for a team where someone said, we're trying to keep the offensive coordinator from drawing plays on napkins.
Oh, yeah.
And it was somebody's turn to watching because you can, as a coach, get way into the woods, can't you?
Yeah, you can. And you can end up trying to teach a kid pre-calc when really all you need is statistics or basic math for this certain game. And coaches, we do that sometimes. And I took Terry Scott, that was at Central. I worked with him at Muskogee for 3 years. And he told me one time, because I had a scouting report, there was a book. And I gave it to the kids. He goes, Coach, it's not what you know, it's what you can get them to know. And, you know, sometimes 1 page is better than 7.
Wisdom from Bobby Allison. He's the head basketball coach at Memorial. Congratulations on the tournament win and the way you're playing and for being back again. We'll have more coming up on right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I love JROTC athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Rick Couri here, your host, as we now delve into a little bit more basketball from Michael Parish, the East Central head coach, and he's brought with him Trey Bruner III, one of his players. You guys just had some pretty entertaining tournaments, didn't you?
Well, we've had a great year, and we were just on our way over here talking about just some of the experiences we've been able to have together. And when you bond as a group, it makes anything possible. And so winning 2 tournament championships this year, just so proud of these kids and experiences they'll remember for a lifetime.
Yeah, and you know, that Port City Classic is one everybody's heard of for a long time,
so,
right? Yeah, it's been underway. I mean, we hear about the Tournament of Champions, but Port City is something that I remember from back when I was in high school. So, I mean, there's something to winning that history, isn't there?
Absolutely. And the Port City Classic I played in as a high school player, and to see it evolve from the old gym with the little box window up at the top to the new arena that they have, and the way we're just treated with the hospitality from the Catoosa community, the staff, they had school board members there working the hospitality room. I mean, there's a reason that it's still there. And you know, these tournaments, historic tournaments, you know, it's been fun to be a part of, and the community of Tulsa always rallies around high school sports and high school basketball. We just found out today, Trey doesn't even know yet, but East Central will be in the Tournament of Champions next year. So it's going to be fun for us to get to represent the East Side community in Oklahoma's best tournament next year.
You got a nice little smile out of Trey right
I
there.
didn't
What is
know
it?
that.
I haven't told him, so
Yeah.
that's for his first time to hear about it.
So what do you think of that?
I'm excited. That's good news. Good to hear. I love to hear that. Love to hear that.
So tell me about the year thus far. What has been a high point for you?
I think just our elevation, just coming together as a group, getting better each and every game. In practice every day, working hard. Just to see all my teammates grow and exceed and just become better people and players, it's been a great thing.
One of the things we talk to a lot of coaches about is how you develop culture or buy-in. You can call it what you like it because there are a lot of words for it. What it basically means is you put them before you. And you got to do that in a real basketball team. Did you feel that early on in this group?
Yes, sir. I felt that very strongly. This team has been very selfless. We got a lot of great players, and to have a great team, you got to be selfless and put your teammates before yourself. Every night may not be your night, and that goes to show how strong this team really is.
So tell me about this guy as a player.
First, can I tell you about him as a person?
Yes.
Trey's just one of those kids that's fun to be around. He's a really smart young man. He's friendly. He's always happy. He doesn't ride the emotional roller coaster that a lot of players do. And as a coach, he gives you that calming effect. But he does that every day with his teammates. He's charismatic. He's very magnetized. He brings everybody together. Natural leader. And, he just keeps it light. This group's been fun because we've gotten to where we can joke around with each other and not take it all personal all the time. And so he's fun like that. He likes to tease and have a good time. So just so happy that he's at East Central. He's been our emotional stability. He's been our foundation out on the floor and galvanizing all these kids together. We've put together a good basketball team, but off the floor, they've put together some great friendships.
And that's the thing that really makes a team hum, doesn't it? Because in those moments when it's really hard, you can look at a friend across a huddle, a teammate, friend, and it does make it easier, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. It definitely makes it easier, when you have that relationship, knowing that you got somebody that you can trust and that has the same goals as you and been through the same struggles as you, that you face, it makes it a lot easier.
You certainly came into the year with expectations. At what point in the year did you look around and realize, we got a chance to be really good?
I've had that multiple times this season, even in practices and games, just seeing guys I think the biggest moment for me when I realized was when we made that trip to New York and we played a pretty tough team. And, we get down a few points and we all just huddled up as a team. And, everybody had that look in their eye, and they just came together and we bounced back and we got the job done.
What was it like going to New York?
It was a great time. I had a lot of fun, That's really where I think this team grew a lot and we, came closer together. And I think that's where we had a lot of growth.
All right, outside the games, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part definitely had to be going to Times Square. It was really eye-opening to see and, it was just a lot. And we had a great time.
I've been there a couple of times. I know what you mean by eye-opening.
Yeah.
They were there on Thanksgiving this year, and if you remember Thanksgiving, it was pouring down rain.
Yes.
And so we went to the Macy's Day Parade and tried our best to see the parade. It's super crowded down there.
Yes.
So after the Macy's Day Parade, we watched as much as we could. We went to Times Square and, watching them slide through the Times Square with all the lights and them sopping wet. The pictures, we look back and we were freezing cold, but, now I think we could have been willing to stay a few hours longer through the rain if we could. But
creating memories.
It was great.
Not
it was
just
a great
basketball,
time.
but creating memories. Michael, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Rick.
Trey, it's good to meet
Appreciate
you.
you.
Trey Bruner III and Michael Parish, East Central Basketball. Back with more coming up right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, Plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up and empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Well, we're almost to February. What does that tell you? It's basketball time. Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host. We're going to talk a little basketball. As a matter of fact, with some folks who've just recently won their own tournament. From Rogers, we have Jonah Johnson, the head coach, and Samyah Morrison. Congratulations, winning the Ropers tournament. Tell me all about it.
It was the first time that I've run a tournament. It's my first year at Rogers. It was a good tournament. We played some good teams, and we came out on top. On top of that,
you know, when you're playing a tournament, first of all, you have to turn things around pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously there's not a lot of rest. You also, as coaches, have to turn things around pretty quickly. How do you, as a head coach, handle that?
It's just about taking care of the girls' bodies, making sure that they're prepared with their bodies and also with enough film and knowing, okay, yes, we play this game, but we also have to scout this game before our game because we could play this team or this team. So just scouting and taking care of the girls' bodies. There
is a little less, I mean, it's still structured, but it's not like during the season. So you know someone's coming up on Tuesday, you have some time. Do you like that? We kind of have to moving quickly?
I like it. I don't know about the girls, but I know I do.
What about you, Samyah Morrison? Do you like that when you've got different teams in for a tournament?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me what's fun about playing different people.
We get to like see our strengths and weaknesses. But I just like to play. So.
All right, now I noticed you said taking care of your bodies, and you came in on crutches. So what's up?
Last night game, I rolled my ankle, tripped over a girl foot. I just rolled it. It's not too bad.
All right, but I'll tell you this though, she hopped up on this counter like it was not a big deal at all. That's athletes right there. How long have you been playing basketball?
Since I was 3 years old.
3 years old?
Yes.
How high was that goal?
It was pretty high, but they lowered it. They used to lower it for us, the YMCA league.
Tell me a little bit about playing for Coach.
I like playing for her. She's a good coach. She's teaching us a lot. She's patient with us. She tried to be patient with us. Yeah, she's a good coach.
You're laughing at the trying to be patient. So how's that patience coming, Jen?
At first it was hard because, you know, I played high-level basketball at Texas Tech. So playing high-level basketball, and then I coached college for 1 year, and then playing and coaching girls who know exactly what they're doing, and you don't have to go back and teach the fundamentals of the game. At first it was hard, but just breaking down the girls' games and learning their games, it's become easier to have better patience with them.
So now, what was the hardest thing for you to do getting into that kind of thing? Everybody wants to shoot, everybody wants to have a highlight, but you got to learn a lot of things. You've got to be basic ball handling, there's passing, there's scoring, there's rebounding. What was the hardest to pick up?
Say dribbling, ball handling. Like, because you have to, in order to be a good dribbler, you got to be able to dribble under pressure, not turning it over. So I'm going to say ball handling.
Is that one of the harder things to teach?
Yes, it is. Especially, you just have to teach different combo moves. You got 2 defenders coming up on you. You got to teach keeping your eyes up, being able to see whoever's coming just in case you got to pass it or make a quick move. So I definitely agree that dribbling is something hard that's to teach. But I think that's one of Naya's biggest strengths. She can go when it comes to the dribbling. She'll dribble between the whole team if she needs to.
You know, one of the things we talk about with a lot of high school basketball coaches is, as I just said to Samyah, everybody wants to be a highlight. It's harder to sometimes teach people the basics. How do you go about doing that, making sure everybody understands, look, we have to start here. We have to learn those things.
Fundamentals, like teaching the fundamentals and practices, and also like we have individuals. So we have individual groups to where certain girls go with certain groups based on their skill level. So they're working on certain things. What some of the girls may need to work on, Naya's game is very advanced. I say it all the time, she's the best point guard in Oklahoma. So her game is very advanced. So some of the things she works on, the other girls don't need to work on. They don't need to work on 3-4 combo moves. They just need to work on going behind the back with their eyes up. So just breaking down the individual groups and making sure that every girl gets their fundamentals.
What was the hardest fundamental for you to pick up, or did it all come pretty naturally?
It all came pretty naturally, but I'm going to say probably between the legs. like coming up, going between the legs. Probably between the legs.
Trying to keep the eyes
Because, my
up.
legs so little. I usually couldn't get the ball between it. So, yeah.
How many have gone off your foot?
A lot. It happened a lot of times.
Hey, at least you can do it.
Yeah.
If I tried it, that'd be funny. You'd need probably a couple of firemen to get me up off the ground. All right, so now you've won a tournament. Now we're going to get to February, and now we got to start really kind of preparing and looking that the tournament's coming up, the state tournament's coming up. How do you handle February? You got to keep them fresh, but you got to play sharp.
Right, and I just go back to taking care of their bodies. Like, you know, usually early on in the season, we were practicing like maybe 2.5 hours or 3 hours. We're taking back like an hour, going 2.5 hours, taking care of their bodies on the weekends. We're still practicing at a high level, but we're not practicing as much. But we're also being focused on the opponents ahead of us. So just being locked in on scout preparation and taking care of your bodies. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Taking care of your bodies is very important.
You know, you still want intensity in practice, because if you don't have intensity in practice, you won't have it in the game.
Right.
But you still have to back that off a little too, because you know there's going to be a lot of stress at
Right.
the end. How in the world do you do that?
I break my practices down on working on fundamentals at the beginning of practice so you can still get, you know, your repetition. But after that, we're working on what we need to work on as a team, whether it's help side defense, whatever the case may be, being very intentional on our practice plan.
Do you think much about the tournament coming up, or are you just right now thinking about what's right in front of you?
I think about what's right in front of me. Like, I take it like one step at a time.
What did they tell you about the ankle? How long will you be out?
Until I'm ready. Like, they didn't give me a day.
No ideas at
Nah.
all? So today,
Probably like a week.
pretty sore, right?
Yeah. Probably like a week.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. So you can do without her for a week?
Yeah.
You got supposed to say no.
No, we can't. Naya is a really good leader. You know, she's helped her teammates prepare for moments like this, so they'll be okay.
Jonah Johnson and Samyah Morrison, thank you for being here from Rogers. Congratulations on that
Thank
tournament
you.
win.
Thank you.
Back with more coming up right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field, and that it's the littlest things that will make all the difference in the long run.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with, not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
We're back on Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we have a crowd here. We're about to talk some swimming. I'm a heck of a floater. You can probably see that. But this lady teaches swimming, Virginia Gleason at Booker T. Welcome in.
Thank you for having us.
You brought some folks to introduce.
This is Darby Gleason. She is a junior. This is her third year swimming, and Cameron Roark is also a junior, his third year swimming.
I'll get to you guys in a moment. First of all, just tell me about your season.
It's gone really well so far. We have won most of the meets. The girls have won most of the meets that they've participated in. The boys are doing really well, and overall as a team, we've placed top in most of the competitions that we've had.
You know, one good thing about Booker T is you guys do a multitude of things. So I would think it might be a little easier to get kids involved in extracurriculars. How have you found that?
I did have to turn some kids away this year. You know, when you're in a swimming pool, you're limited to how many lanes you have and how many kids you can put in a lane. So I'm trying to hold the team at about 48 swimmers and have a separate girls and boys team with 24 each.
Wow. All right. So tell me about your experience as a swimmer. Did you start wanting to be competitive, or did you just like being in the pool?
Well, I started doing like Parks and Recs teams when I was younger, and then I turned to doing club about 4 years ago. And then I decided to join the high school team because it was just like I wanted to be on a team, which is what you get with being on a high school team. And yeah, it's been fun.
You know, I don't think people understand when you're trying to swim competitively, that's really hard. I mean, people think of water as, oh, it's fun and you're white. That's like, can you describe the kind of what you have to go through in a workout?
It's really hard, and it's mentally challenging because all you're doing is swimming back and forth, and you really have to push yourself because you can just, you know, swim laps, but it really matters when you start to like push yourself in the pool, and that's how you get better.
Cameron, I was going to ask you some of the same things here if you grab that microphone. When you're out there, you're competing against others, but you're really competing against yourself as well. How do you handle it? What are you thinking? What are you doing in your head?
Yeah, so I feel like when we're racing, you always have like your own time, but then you also have the people in the lanes beside you. And it really makes you feel like, oh, I need to go faster to catch the people beside me and make sure I'm winning. But I also have to keep in mind that, I have my own personal goals of times that I want to go. And it's kind of tough mentally to think about, but it does kind of motivate you in a way, because you know that even though you're maybe winning a race, you still might not be doing good for yourself. And so it kind of pushes you to, hey, even though I'm winning, I need to keep going faster. I need to keep hitting my walls, hitting my, having good strokes. And it's tough. It really is.
And you have to know how to pace yourself some, just like running or bicycling. So you make sure that you don't leave a little too much out front. How long did it take you to kind of learn your limits, if you will?
Still trying to figure it out. It's swimming. You learn a lot about yourself in the pool and what kind of swimmer you are. Some people are sprinters and distance swimmers, and some people change over time. I was a sprinter when I was younger, and now I've found that if I do anything under 100 meters, I can't keep up with them, because I just don't have the speed to keep up with people anymore. But I've got the endurance to, those longer races like the 500 and the 1,000. Yeah, I can really use my endurance to my abilities to push myself further. But also, I feel like in the last year, I've become more of a sprinter than I was. I went from like 2 years ago only doing a 500 to now I'm doing the 100 and the 200, which when I was younger, I did it all the time. But I kind of boxed myself out of it. But
it's fun watching them develop like that, isn't it?
Oh, and he terrifies me. He'll take a race and I'll think, oh my gosh, he's not going to get there. And at the end, he just picks it up and takes it over. It's really fun to watch him swim.
A lot of people get involved in swimming that have had backgrounds like these young people here. Do you get folks who come in and just say, hey, I want to try it?
I have so many freshmen this year, and this is their first year swimming, and I'm amazed at what they've been able to do and how fast they've gotten. I've got one freshman girl who I'm taking to the regional competition, and I wouldn't be surprised if she did something really crazy like made state in 100 free. And you don't know, but if you get in the pool and you work hard, you can be a swimmer. Anybody can be a swimmer if they're willing to work hard at it. Yeah,
I bet you not anybody, because you haven't had me in the pool.
I don't know.
Now, I'm a scuba instructor, and I'm really good underwater, but on top of the water, not quite so much.
Kids are easier to teach.
Tell me what an average practice is like.
We get to the pool, we stretch, we do about, you want her to tell you or you want me to tell you?
I want you to tell me.
Oh, we do 10 to 15 minutes of what we call dry land, what other people call weight training, because we're not in the water. And then most of my practices they're in the water for about 2 hours. 1 hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. We start with the warm up, then we do some sprint work off the blocks, then we do what we call our aerobic set, where we're just staying in shape. And then at the end, we'll do something to burn it out, more sprint work, leg work, something like that.
Darby, cool name, by the way. What do you like most about practice? What do you hate most about practice?
I would say the hardest part about practice is getting in the pool, like physically getting in the pool, because it's cold and it's just not a fun place to be when you're doing it every single day. And I've been doing this for like 11 years now. So, and the part I like the most is
getting out.
The way it feels, getting out.
The way it feels after is really good. Yeah, honestly, doing it is really hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Cameron, what about you? Favorite part and least favorite part?
I would have to agree with the least favorite part is just getting into the pool. Once you're in, it gets 100 times better. It's kind of that mental barrier of jumping in a freezing cold pool. Sometimes in the morning, sometimes after a long day at school, it can be really tough. But I'd say my favorite part is probably the social aspect of it. You learn a lot about how to socialize when you're on a team that you don't learn when you're just hanging out with your friends outside of a sport. You learn how to motivate your friends, how to pick them up when they're down after maybe a bad race. You learn how to, it's just all the kinds of socializing that you don't get in other sports that you get a lot of in swimming.
Sounds like they're getting a lot more than just athletics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a great team.
Virginia and Darby and Cameron, thank you guys for being here. I told you to go fast.
No, thank you for having us. It was really fun.
Booker T Swimming right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Back with more in a moment.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Hey Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
We're going to talk some more swimming right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Rick Couri, your host, back with you, and the folks at Booker T can remain with us. Virginia Gleason, along with Darby Gleason and Cameron Roark. Now, Cameron, I heard you earlier when someone said, hey, how many medals? And you just jumped right on medals from the swim team last Olympics. I want to ask both of you, do the Olympics motivate you?
I would say for me, yes, because it's one of those things where making an Olympic team is a lifelong goal of every swimmer, I would say. But it's also just when you see the people on Team USA, like this year they had a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old that made it, it really motivates you to say they're not just all 25-year-old adults that, you know, can do this as a full-time job. These are high school students that are making it. And it goes to show like how far you can push the sport outside of just having fun and, you know, doing it as an extracurricular at school.
Do you ever find yourself watching and thinking, all right, I'm picking up tips from people that you're watching?
Definitely a lot. Yeah, I spend a lot of my free time watching swimming races. I'll be honest. I enjoy it a lot. I mean, it's my favorite sport in the whole world. And I find myself picking up a lot of tips, just little things here and there when watching different races.
Hey, don't let them laughing at you. Those are the kind of people that end up at the top.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you watch the Olympics for motivation, for fun, or do you get motivation out of it?
I just think it's really cool that they're that strong and that they can go that fast, because I'm so far from that. And I don't see myself going to the Olympics, and that's not like a motivation in that way, but like Cameron said, like how far you can push yourself and how much hard work can take you.
Watching anyone do anything at the highest level is motivating, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When you get a young swimmer, how do you know they have that potential? Is there something that kind of jumps out at you?
I've only been doing this for 3 years, so I'm not there yet. But I can definitely tell within the first 3 to 4 weeks of school who's going to work hard, who's going to improve, who's willing to push it, and then who's just there for the social activity, for the friendships, for just to get some exercise.
And that's okay too.
Yeah, no, we love that. That's great. I don't mind that at all.
Tell me what you've learned in these 3 years.
That that high school kids can be a lot more fun than I thought they could. That they're really a neat group of people, and I've had more fun coaching this team than I ever thought that I could have. I didn't think I wanted to be a coach. It kind of fell into my lap.
So when you become a coach, and it's not something you necessarily want to do, you know, first of all, you have to know the techniques, you have to know the basics, you have to grow and learn yourself. How did you start the process?
I had a mentor coach that I was working under who was the head coach before me, and then I also spend a lot of time looking at video. I've joined the American Swim Coaches Association, and I went to Orlando. The Booster Club paid for me to go to Orlando in last September to get certified in level 2 coaching and to just watch all the stuff that's out there about coaching. It's really helped me.
Once you started and got that, did the bug kind of hit you?
Yeah, I can't tell if I love the swimming or I love the kids more. You know, like I love being with the kids. I love coaching the kids. And I can see my ability as a coach growing and their ability as swimmers getting better.
Yeah, this might be hard with her sitting right here, especially since you have the same last name. But do you see that same growth in her?
I do. She started as just our assistant coach, and so she was there to kind of like be support for the head coach, and just it was fun for her, and it still is fun for her, but it's become like her job, and I love to see how much time she spends putting into the team and how much she cares for the team, and I think that's really cool to see.
Cameron, when you were in a practice and she's coaching you, do you look at her as head coach? Do you look at her as a friend? A combination of those two things? How do you react to really hard coaching?
I would definitely say I look at her a lot as a head coach, especially like you're saying, she was really thrown into that role. She wasn't, at the beginning of last year, she didn't know she would be the head coach. And it was definitely, I know it was hard for her, but she's improved so much that it's gone from just viewing her as an assistant coach, as someone who's, trying to be a better coach, to someone who is a very good coach and a very good mentor for the freshmen and for the newer swimmers. And I mean, she swam when she was in high school, and she knows a lot about the sport, and she's grown a lot in these last 2 years, and she's become a great coach.
That's nice to hear, isn't it?
He's so sweet. Yes.
What is the ceiling for this team?
We have some really heavy competition as a 6A team, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Virginia Gleason, Darby Gleason, Cameron Roark, thanks again for being here. We appreciate you stopping in, and keep the strokes going, all right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll get them underwater soon. Back with more on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I feel like athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
We're back on Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host. And, we've talked a little bit of different things today. We're going to continue that by going with some junior ROTC. Raymond Ships is here from Edison. You can see that. That's a good-looking shirt, Raymond.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, now you appear to me to be a guy who might have a little experience in this. Tell me about your experience in junior ROTC.
Well, I've been in junior ROTC for 23 years now. So I started in 2001, so I'm going on to my 24th year.
What is it that attracts you to it?
Being able to teach kids. That's been kind of like my calling, and so I get a pleasure in teaching them and watching them grow into young adults.
What is it that you think is the most important lesson they're going to bring out of this?
Leadership, self-discipline. Yes, that's the most important part of it.
Those are words, but you've got to instill it, or that child or kid has to have that. How do you start and build that?
Well, it's a process. We get them in as freshmen, and we just start building them and teaching them and letting them know that they too are leaders because they don't believe in that when they start. I tell all our kids that everybody in here is a leader, no matter what your grade level is.
How do you get them to show that? Everybody's a little individual. You've got to pick and choose how you handle everybody.
Well, we do that it starts on PT days and on our drill days where we get them out there and we show them how to command, and then we push them out there to commanding their peers, and then it just takes off from there.
I've had an uncle who was 22 years in the military as a master sergeant.
Okay.
And had actually a longer career, but 22 years old as a master sergeant. There is something innate in some people, aren't there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure is.
Can you see that when they first come out?
I can. Well, see, myself, I started out, I'm a product of Tulsa Public Schools. I left Tulsa in 1980, went straight into the military, and I spent 21 years and myself retired as a first sergeant. And I didn't know anything about it. But as I got there and I got under the wing of my drill sergeants and sergeants in my unit, it taught me that I too can be that person.
Today we hear an awful lot about, you'll hear adults, kids. How much of that do you find? And what do you find when these kids first come into your program? Are they looking for that kind of order?
Structure. They're looking for structure. They're looking for discipline. They're looking for somebody to hold them accountable. And so in our program, once they see that we have structure, We're committed to them, and we're going to hold them accountable, not just in our classroom, but in the building as a whole. I tell my ROTC students that they are ambassadors for our program, and they got to represent us in the right way, not just in the building, but in life in general.
I wonder how many of these folks you have coming to you, are they former scouts or former, had some kind of background in other things, or are they just coming to you through interest?
Some interest, some forced. This kid needs structure, so they look to us and say, okay, go to the ROTC program, so we can build that confidence in that kid. Hopefully they'll do the right thing on a daily basis.
Tell me what a normal day looks like when you have your folks together.
Well, for me, I start at 7:15 in the morning with mine. We practice every day because we compete. We compete just like all the other sports programs in the school. And so we come in, we practice every day. We do a lot of community service in the city. We do a lot of community service around the building. And we teach them about community service and service learning. So we're busy every day. I have a staff. We have staff meetings every Thursday. We talk about our plans for the following week. What our goals we need to work on, what we need to accomplish, and just get together as a group.
So tell me some of the things you guys are practicing when you're together.
We practice color guard, because we do a lot of color guards in the city. We just completed a drill meet, which consisted of armed regulation, unarmed exhibition, armed exhibition with rifles. Of course, our color guard competed. And so we just won our 11th Tulsa Public School drill meet in a row.
That is fantastic.
Oh, yes.
So you've got a little bit of history there.
Yes, sir.
What are your numbers like?
We have 88 students in our program right now.
How many of those just came to you knowing nothing about it and just wanted to get involved?
It's normally we have 8th graders also, so it's normally our 8th graders and our freshmen that do that. We might have a couple of sophomores and juniors maybe, or seniors. They know they're gonna go in the military. They want to come in and get a leg up because they too know I was a drill sergeant in the Army, so they want to get a leg up so they can go in prepared. So our numbers just fluctuate in that way.
That is fantastic, though. I'm wondering, I would imagine that you get young men and young women who have been through your program who come back to you later years and tell you what it did for them.
Oh yes, all the time. All the time. I have them giving testimonies. And I'm proud to say that I've had a guy that went to Annapolis. Now he's a lawyer. I've got a guy that's a ranger who went to West Point. So, and then we have guys that's just doing great in the military as a whole.
It's fantastic, though, to have those kinds of success stories that you can point to for others, isn't it?
Oh, yes, definitely.
So what is the next goal for you? You've got a lot of kids. You're winning competitions. Where do you go from here?
Hey, I start over every year. My goal is to reach as many students as I can and help them succeed in life.
You've obviously done that. Raymond Ships, Junior ROTC at Edison, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Sergeant Ships, by the way. Back with more of Inside Tulsa Athletics coming up.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm your host, Rick Couri, and I am excited to talk to this gentleman right here. It's Joey Newsom, who is the Booker T. Washington archery coach. And Coach Newsom, first of all, thank you for being here. You've got a heck of a history in doing a lot of different things. Somebody in the studio said when you first came in, we do archery? You probably hear that every now and then, don't you?
We do hear that quite often. We're actually part of the Oklahoma Archery in the Schools program, which is part of the nationwide National Archery in the Schools program. Booker T has had a program since about 2016. a coach by the name of Gwen Palace had a program, and it was very strong and had great participation up through about 2020 when she left and went to another place. When I came to Booker T in 22, I saw the equipment sitting in the hallway and like, can we get this going again? I had done archery at Thoreau Middle School when I was a teacher there, and they were like, we would love that. So we started the after-school archery program. It's kind of developed into, I actually have a class hour where I have archery. Our first year we did it, we had 7 students, and this year I've got 26.
Wow.
So it has grown.
So tell me your background. You started as a bow hunter, or?
Actually, I grew up in a family. My dad was a hunter, did a lot of archery in the backyard, shooting a bow and arrow. I didn't ever hunt myself with a bow and arrow. Between years in college, I worked as a camp counselor. I was the archery instructor. Gotcha. And so when the opportunity came up a number of years ago, the wildlife department, the Oklahoma Wildlife Department, is the one that kind of hosts the program. And I saw the email about, hey, do you want to do this program? I went and got certified through the Oklahoma Wildlife Department. And right now at Booker T, we've got 3 coaches, Major Rick Turner for the ROTC program, and Ellen Huey is a teacher at Booker T. And the 3 of us have both my 7th hour class, but we've also got the after school program, and we have upwards of probably 40 archers that are consistent every week coming and shooting with us.
That's super. And those wildlife program folks, I've known many of those game wardens. They are wonderful, wonderful people. All right, so what are the finer points of picking this up and starting? And it's not like it's a ball that you've been used to before. It's a different instrument.
It is a different instrument. And the unique thing about archery is it can be done by anyone. Now, I say that with, I've got cheerleaders, I've got basketball players, I've got swimmers, I've got video gamers, I've got skateboarders. I've got students that have never participated in any athletic event ever. I don't have many that could be on the basketball team. We're not a very tall team. But it is open for everyone, and it is a sport that can be done. I also have we have students from every socioeconomic group. We've got every ethnic group. We've got a national merit semifinalist. We've got special ed kids. So archery is that wide encompassing sport that has been at Booker T for those number of years and is growing still.
What are the basics skill-wise to be able to do? I mean, we hear about compound bows and the strength it requires, certainly requires balance and focus. What are you looking for?
So we do use a compound bow, the Genesis compound bow, and for some of our beginning archers, it actually has a way that we can back off the draw weight so that they don't have to be super strong to get started. Eventually, we do try to get that draw weight up a little higher so that it'll shoot straighter. But yeah, we just have anybody that's got an interest in it. And what we have found is in just talking to our students, archery is a stress relief. It actually gives the kids an opportunity to kind of just unwind, and from a stressful day of test and school right. and everything that goes on, archery ends up being a place for them to just come and relax and enjoy. And we've got archery friends, people that may not be in their normal friend group. That's their archery friends, and it's a great little community we've got.
What does an average practice look like?
So we will shoot from 10 meters and 15 meters. That's part of the Wildlife Department National Archery in the Schools program. And we will have a competition. We're going in February, the February 19th, we're going to actually compete in the Grand State competition put on by the Wildlife Department. Our NASP team, the high school team, is one of the top 25 that qualified for the Grand State competition in Oklahoma. And then the varsity program that's part of just the Oklahoma Archery in the Schools program uses a hunting bow, a higher poundage bow, and only shoots from the 15-meter distance. We're in the top 10 of those teams, so we're going to have that competition that day as well. So we're going to be practicing different distances, both the 10 and 15-meter distance. We shoot our end of 5 arrows, we score it, and we'll work on their mechanics of the shoot and the release, and hopefully make those clusters come down a little bit closer so that they're closer to that bullseye.
It's got to be really, really gratifying to you to see kids who haven't done things pick this up.
It is tremendously, and our staff, the three of us, have seen those kids grow and develop. Many of them have never, quote, been on the free throw line to make that game-winning shot, and this is that first opportunity for them to experience it, and that competition and the teamwork that is there every day in practice.
Joey Newsom, he is the head archery coach at Booker T. Washington. Thank you for coming over from the Hive, and continued good luck with that. That's
Thank
fantastic.
you very much.
Back with more in a moment right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
We're back on Inside Tulsa Athletics. I'm Rick Couri, your host, and you're going to recognize this gentleman right here because he's here about as often as I am. Jason Selmon, who's an assistant AD at the Free University for Tulsa Public Schools. And let's be really honest, Jason was just on the way over here with something, and they said, hey, you need to stay. So welcome back.
I'm glad to always be here with you, Rick, and I enjoy our time together.
And you said, hey, it's just nice getting out of the office every now and then, right?
It is a good opportunity, and we get to talk about Tulsa Public School athletic programs and things happening, so it's always good to get out and do that.
You know, we talked a little basketball, and we're going to do more of that on the show, and we have some already. We are getting to that, what I call February grind, that leads you into tournament play. Tournament play is like another season, entirely other season. We got an important month of basketball coming up.
Absolutely. You know, as you get out of the regular season and you start the postseason, everybody's record goes back to 0-0. So any given night, any given site, anybody can go down. So it's important you're playing well, your best basketball towards the end of the season. So that way you go in the postseason and you're ready to compete.
It is not the best team, it's the team playing best.
That's true.
And that has always been the case. Now, we had some bad weather a few weeks ago, and certainly that happens in the winter. How'd you guys come through all of that? I know there were a couple of situations.
Yeah, we had a couple situations due to snow and ice where we had to cancel some games, which is normal if you don't have school for the day. But, you know, it didn't disrupt a whole lot. It did cause some disruptions for some of our schools and their tournaments that they were going to, and tournaments in general were altered because of the snow. So we just made necessary adjustments, and if our kids and players and teams could get there and be safe on the way there and back, we went ahead and let them go. Otherwise, we just followed our proper protocols and make sure that our kids are safe.
Now, there's one thing to have a plan. It's another thing to not completely know where or when that's going to be implemented. So is there a base plan you guys follow at this time of year, knowing, okay, if this happens, this is our next step?
Yeah, well, as you said, you can't really plan for the weather. You have to respond to it, and it's all part of what we do in problem solving here. And so, you know, you have meetings with necessary people who look at the weather and all the different factors and how much snow and ice you could get. And you just make a determination with a group of people within the district and the leadership team and others that look at generally what's best and safe for kids. And you make the best call on that. It might disappoint some of the kids that want to go play, right, because they want to play ball, but safety is the first thing that matters, is important.
And one of the things they wanted you to talk about is Bike Club.
Yeah.
So explain to me what it is.
So Bike Club is a program within the district that teaches kids generally from third grade on up into middle school about bike safety, about how to ride in groups on the road, and how to just generally get out and be better with your health and wellness through biking. And you know, here in Tulsa, there's a lot of good bike trails, and the individuals who run that, Jason Wharton and Lance, those guys do a great job, and they run the bike club program of just making sure our kids know how to use options and things that they have to use biking as a mobile or a vehicle to be healthy and safe.
Is this a situation where the school has bikes and equipment and you're teaching the use it, kids bring it? How does it work?
No, so actually they provide the bike club. It's through Humble Brothers or Humble Sons Bike Club, I believe is the organization that kind of sponsors the bike club, and then TPS partners with them, and they provide the bikes, they provide the helmets, they provide volunteers that come to the school, and kids can sign up for it. And then they can be part of after school clubs if they're like 5th through middle school, or they can come to the 3rd grade part where you learn the introduction and the basics and fundamentals of riding. So they provide all the equipment, they come in and teach the classes, their staff at the bike club, and it's just a great program for our kids.
So you mentioned that a lot of trails. Do they take them out on trails and go on rides?
Yeah, so actually they do some trail riding. They ride on campus initially to get kids used to riding in groups, and then they go out. They have mountain bike trails that they do, and they teach kids mountain biking. They also have competitions that they do. There are some statewide bike and mountain biking competitions. So some of the kids participate in the bike club in the mountain biking competitive team. So
I got to think that you have a lot of kids involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, there's roughly around, I believe, somewhere between 500 to 750 kids in the district that participate in bike club. And the unique thing about it is at the end of the program, the bikes that are donated, those kids get to keep those bikes so they can use them after the program, after they've completed the program. It's very neat.
It's one thing to bring a kid in who's done this before, but there have got to be kids who've never been on one before, and seeing that has got to be gratifying.
Yeah, absolutely. And just getting the basic fundamentals and learning balance. That's the main thing about teaching. And sometimes as parents, it's hard to teach kids how to ride bikes, but others who are experienced and know that have a really good time and know how to do that and teach kids how to ride bikes safely.
Yeah, right. Just like teaching your kid to drive. Sometimes they just don't want mom or dad.
No, and they don't listen to mom and dad. And so, somebody else who can reach them a different way, it tends to click and the light bulbs turn on.
Okay. Philadelphia or Kansas City?
I'm going to go with Kansas City. I'm from Kansas, even though Kansas City's in Missouri, but they're most near and dear to my heart, and that's who I'm going to roll with.
All right, Jason Selmon, assistant AD, thanks for the quick fill-in.
Good to see you again.
All right, coming back with more right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
So thanks to all the folks who've joined us here today on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We learned a lot about basketball. We've got the playoffs coming up. We had some swimming, junior ROTC wrestling, and we even found out about archery inside Tulsa Public Schools. Now it's time for you to pick an event, pick a school, and go support Inside Tulsa Athletics and Tulsa Athletics overall. Remember, playoff basketball coming up pretty soon, and we'll be back with you to talk more Inside Tulsa Athletics in the next couple of weeks.